putting on my boots because it's raining and I'm gonna go to my farm and chop down a tree. In one of my favorite passages in Meditations, Marcus Aurelius talks about using the reins with your non-dominant hand. He's talking about doing stuff you're not good at, so you get good at it. And he talks about this practice as being a really important part of the philosophy. I'm Ryan Holiday. I've written a number of books about Stoic philosophy, and yes, I write my books with my hands, but I don't really use my hands for work. In fact, I'm not very good at using my hands. And my friend, Jeff Waldman, just wrote this book called Tools, which is really about using your hands. And so he's gonna help me. We're gonna chop down this tree on my farm and we're gonna put it inside my bookstore, The Painted Porch. I had this idea that it would be really cool to have like a tree coming up out of the ground, reaching up to the ceiling in the bookstore. And I don't know, I have no idea where to start. I have no idea how to do it, but Jeff's gonna show me how to do it. We're gonna do a really cool project. He brought all of his tools with me. I have some tools, I'm not so good at using them. We're gonna do this cool project together. I'm gonna show you what it looks like and some of the Stoic lessons inherent in doing so. This is a tree fort that I made with Jeff a couple years ago that I like to play with my kids. It's one of the first sort of real big projects we did here. I just learned so much doing it. And again, it's when you do the things that you're not familiar with that are really hard, that humble you, right? I'm sure to someone who builds stuff all the time, that seems pretty simple, but to me, it was like so many different skills that I needed to learn. It took 4 or 5 days. We did it together. So the question is always, how strict are you gonna be with your standards? So we like this one, but it's a little rotted.
I mean, you can face it toward the wall.
You can face it towards the wall, and you could probably, like, I don't want to say glue it, but I'm sure there's something you can put on there. It's not like we have a shortage of trees to choose from. I mean, where does it stop?
Maybe right there.
Yeah. Is that bad? But that's well, kind of the whole point.
Yeah, you're losing the whole point of it.
Yeah.
Unless, what about using this as the fork?
So like you chop it here, and that's the fork, and then, yeah. Yeah.
Gonna be a problem.
Well, we got it in the car. We only had to trim off a few extant branches, and now we're taking it to the bookstore. We got the base of the tree in the store on day one. Now we went back to my property, we chopped down the rest of it, so this is gonna be the part that's going from the balcony all the way up to the ceiling. We've got the branches that are coming out. This will be the hard part because now we gotta get it up to the second story, but I think it's going pretty well so far. I'm learning a bunch. All right, so we got the first of the 3 forks up there. It's going somewhat according to plan. The reality with plans, this is another key Stoic thing. I think the Stoics would agree with this idea that Eisenhower says, that plans are worthless, but planning is everything. We've planned it all out, but now we're having to riff, we're having to make adjustments, we're adapting on the fly, which is a really key Stoic idea. Marcus Aurelius says, if there's brambles in the path, go around. You can't expect it to unfold exactly as you planned, but you can adjust. Your plan can be flexible rather than really rigid. And then as you adjust, it unfolds not how you thought you wanted it to go, but actually exactly as it's meant to go. So now we've got 2 more big branches to go up. Then we've got to mount it all in. And then comes a little fine-tuning details after that. stands out. They're not afraid to stand out. There's an early Stoic named Agrippinus who said that what makes a sweater beautiful? He said it's the red thread running through it that stands out amongst the others. He says, I'm the red thread. He wanted to be different. He didn't want to be like everyone else. And I think this is actually something that a lot of artists and craftspeople and makers struggle with. They're really good at what they do, and they think that's enough, but you actually have to stand out on top of it. I say this in my first book, Trust Me, I'm Lying. Like, if you want to be in the news, you have to do something that's newsworthy. When we were loading the tree in yesterday, someone was like, what are you guys doing? They just stopped because it was unusual to be loading dragging a tree across a main street at 10 o'clock at night. And we said, oh, we're going to put this in the bookstore and it's going to come out like it's growing out of the ceiling. They're like, oh my God, that's incredible, right? So when you do interesting things, it creates attention, it captures attention, it demands attention. And so I always try to do stuff like that. The reason we have the book tower in the bookstore is to stand out. People take pictures of it, they ask questions about it. Actually, one of the first things that Jeff did that got a lot of attention, he did this cool campaign where he put up these swings all over San Francisco and Los Angeles. And he had this idea, and I was like, okay, but they got to be really photogenic. They have to be the kind of things that demand attention, that would look good on the news, that would look good on social media. And he did. It got so much attention that Coca-Cola even turned it into a commercial. So yes, of course, it's really important to be good at what you do. But when Emerson says that if you make a better mousetrap, the world will beat a path to your door, it's not that simple, at least in today's world, in this attention economy that we live in. You have to be the red thread. You have to stand out. You have to be such a better mousetrap that people want to talk about it, right? So on this project, we don't sell trees in the store, obviously. This doesn't really even have anything to do with books, but it's a statement for the store that I think is going to really stand out. That's why I'm doing it.